when you kind of pull them aside?
Well, I mean, we got to try to keep it in perspective. We're in a funk, obviously, offensively. That goes without saying, and it's magnified a little bit when you face arms like they have, and they threw the way that they threw. But we got to try to go back to the drawing board offensively and get better. I came into the year and in the fall thinking we're going to be a darn good offensive team, and we've shown flashes of it, but against the better pitching, we've been kind of overpowered. So we got to go back to the drawing board and kind of regroup. And a lot of season to play, a lot of games to be played, a lot of challenges in front of us with similar arms. So we don't have a choice. And disappointing the way that we performed tonight, no doubt about it. Didn't put up much of a fight, and that's tough to take. Getting beat on the road, that happens in this league, but you got to fight a little bit harder and you got to be a little bit tougher than we were tonight, and we'll try to correct that part of it.
What's more difficult for you as a coach, a game like yesterday when you miss some opportunities offensively, or a game like today when there's aren't many to be had, only two guys in scoring position all night?
Well, when you lose, it stinks either way, and I just wanted to see a little bit more fight out of my team, and that's disappointing, and that's not who we are, and that's not what got us to this point, both this year and in years past, and that can't continue.
What was their guy doing on the mound that was so effective?
Well, he's got an electric arm. I mean, he's a mid-90s fastball, and his breaking ball was lights out too, and didn't walk anybody, didn't give us any free bases, and we did right out of the chute, which contributed to that, that 5-run inning there, and that 2 walks, a bloop, and a nubber, and they're pushing 3 or 4 runs across, and then they bust one. Their best hitter gets there and bust, and the game was essentially over, and because of who was on the mound, and that's what you can't do against those guys. Credit to Oliver. I mean, he had special stuff, and he overpowered our guys.
Would you consider doing anything different in the lineup-wise with some of the stalwart, some of your veterans that have been struggling?
Well, some guys that we're counting on to put up some numbers and hit aren't hitting, and so I have to keep the options open. I have to, might have to play a little bit differently. I don't really sit here and know that I have the answers. The guys that we're counting on got to perform, and we're in a little bit of a rut. That happens over the course of a long season. And obviously it gets magnified when you face arms like that. But 6 runs in a week, that ain't good enough.
Max, I think, is 2 for 32 since the home run against Ole Miss. Obviously, he's had a couple of big hits, but what do you think about doing with him going forward? Is he in the lineup to stay, or do you have to maybe think about giving him a game or 2 off?
Well, I thought about giving him some time off to kind of. I think that he's putting a lot of pressure on himself, and he knows he's struggling, and we need him. And I'm wrestling with how to handle it, just because he's important to the rest of our season. We need him in there, and we got to get him back. And giving him a day here or there might get it back, or changes his offensive approach a little bit, and kind of get him to be a little bit less down on himself. And he's struggling, and when you play baseball, that happens, and we got to get him out of it. I got to get him out of it. I can't get him out of it. They're sitting beside me, and that's what I'm wrestling with. But for us to be a good team offensively, we need Max Shaw, and I got to get him out of this funk, and he's got to get himself out of it as quick as possible. We're going to continue to struggle.
Yes.
When you go home on tonight, do you go home more impressed with the Arkansas pitching staff, or more disappointment in your hitters?
I was more disappointed in the way that we fought, in the way that we scrapped and clawed and tried to make something happen, and fight with 2 strikes. And I give a lot of credit to their arms. It was going to be hard to score whether we fought our rear ends off, but I didn't think we fought hard enough. I didn't think we competed good enough. I think we conceded a little bit when we got down 5-0, and didn't try to fight the way to get back in the game. And so the disappointment, I got to give credit to their guy because he was awfully good, but I got to worry about my team, and I was disappointed in the way that we performed and in the way that we competed, and ultimately we got to get better than what we did tonight.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Coach.